Hi, everyone. Good morning. I wanted to say a few remarks before we get started. Today we have Texas Democratic Party Chairman Gilberto Hinojosa, State Representative John Rosenthal, and then Houston City Councilwoman Abby Kamen with us this morning. Thank you all for joining, and we will allot time at the end for about 2 or 3 questions. All right, Chairman. All right, let's do it. We got it.
Thank you, Bridget, and thank everybody for being on this call with us today. To close out a year of utter chaos within the Texas Republican Party, the executive committee for the Republican Party this weekend refused or rejected, let's put it this way, rejected a resolution aimed at abolishing all ties with organizations or individuals with anti-Semitic, pro-Nazi, and Holocaust denial ideologies, just days before the start of Hanukkah. This has come about because of recent reports that we have all seen where members of the Republican Party, the leadership within the Republican Party, have met with known pro-Nazi Holocaust deniers like those with the Texas Liberty PAC. And this has become almost the norm with the Republican Party here today. They surround themselves with people who advocate the hate that that anti-Semitic or pro-Nazi organizations advocate. And they also sponsor legislation that has behind it this hate attitude that they have towards people of color and people of different faiths, and has placed people all across the state of Texas in danger. There is no place in Texas for hate, and the current Republican Party leadership in Texas has set a place at the head of their table for hate. That's why I'm calling on the Republican Party of Texas Chairman Matt Rinaldi and every elected official on the Senate Republican Executive Committee that agrees with this vile white supremacist ideology to resign immediately. This is not something that our state should have among its political leadership. I'm also calling on the Republican National Committee Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel to open a full investigation into the Republican Party of Texas ties with anti-Semites, Nazi sympathizers, and Holocaust deniers, as Texas safety is jeopardized by these actions. Now I want to introduce State Representative John Rosenthal, a civil rights attorney and a representative of the Houston City Council since 2020. John, Representative.
Thank you, Chairman. So first, I'm John Rosenthal, Texas State Representative for House District 135. I believe I am one of only 2 members of the Texas House of Representatives with any Jewish lineage. The civil rights attorney is Abby Kamen, who's my dear friend and councilwoman for the councilwoman at Houston, city of Houston. I'm actually an oil field engineer, but I'm deeply concerned about this whole situation. I mean, there aren't 2 sides to this issue. There's nothing to clarify. There's nothing to explain. You know, these folks refused to adopt language to ban and denounce Nazi sympathizers, Holocaust deniers, because of fear of it being a slippery slope. There is no slippery slope other than the refusal to ban and disavow people with these hateful views. It's beyond reckless for a party to casually accept racist anti-Semites and Holocaust deniers. It's unbelievable that such people would be allowed to sit on executive committees for an important organization like this. You know, we're talking about the Republican Party of Texas here, let alone participating in governing one of the most diverse states in the union. You know, Texas is home to 30 million people of all different faiths, ethnicities, and backgrounds. And we have to consider all of the people when we are taking up legislation for this state. These are the same people influencing legislation that affects the lives of all of us. And it's unbelievably dangerous, especially in times such as this, to have these hateful ideologies in the same room where we're discussing the business of the people. You know, we talk about healthcare policy, school funding, school policy. We talk about civil rights, you know, border security, the influence of white nationalism, white supremacy, anti-Semitism in these discussions, in these rooms, is completely unacceptable. There's no way we should be allowing this sort of things. We know very influential people, the Wilkes brothers, Tim Dunn, have massively bankrolled to legislators to influence this type of legislation. They've gone after our funding of our public schools and border policy. They've given tens of thousands of dollars to the Defend Texas Liberty PAC that has notoriously associated with these white supremacists. And we're talking about, you know, Nick Fuentes having a 6-hour meeting with them. That's not a casual interaction. That's spending the day together, y'all. So it's worthwhile for us to be sounding the alarm today. White supremacy, anti-Semitism, neo-Nazis, Holocaust deniers, I'll add Islamophobes, and all the other forms of hate that we see: anti-immigrant, anti-blackness, Islamophobic, anti-Semitic, anti-LGBTQIA. All this is the same hate. It's all aimed at the same direction. It's all dangerous and damaging, and especially when it's being used for personal and political gain, as we are seeing right now. It's not welcome in Texas. You'll never see me or any of my Democratic colleagues backing down against this. We are, the Texas Democratic Party is committed to inclusivity and having everybody gets a seat at the table and a voice in our policy. And I promise you, I will not be backing off or backing down on this kind of policy and these kind of folks, and neither will any of my colleagues. I think I should probably stop there before I start ranting. And now I'm going to introduce my dear friend Abby Kamen, who is a civil rights attorney and represents Houston District C in our city council.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Representative and Mr. Chairman. Thank you for including me on this important call to discuss what's taking place in Texas politics right now, and really has no place in it. Again, my name is Abby Kamen. I am Houston's council member for District C. I represent the largest population of Jewish families, Jewish religious institutions, and organizations in our city. And I also chair our city's Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee. When you intentionally eliminate language in a resolution that would have banned associating with Nazis and Holocaust deniers, my question is, who are you trying to protect? We are still reeling from the reality of the horrors of Hamas's deliberate and unprovoked terror attack on October 7th, the butchering, mass rape, slaughter, and kidnapping of Israeli civilians and citizens from around the world, including Americans. We're talking about children, women, and men, and Holocaust survivors. And the attack and ensuing war has produced a ripple effect of violence and aggression against Jewish communities in Texas and around the world. Since October 7th, we have seen at least, and I say at least, a 388% increase in anti-Semitic attacks and harassment in the United States. But even before that, the Anti-Defamation League published a report just a few months ago documenting the continuing rise of anti-Semitic incidents in our own state, here in Texas. That includes terrorist plots, extremist events, including trainings and rallies, and our state leads the nation in the dissemination of white supremacist propaganda. Synagogues in Texas have been set on fire. Hostages were held at a North Texas congregation, and the list goes on. This is not the time to give an inch when it comes to unequivocally condemning anti-Semitism, Holocaust denial, and Nazis. Yet over the weekend, members of the state's GOP party leadership, they doubled down with their executive committee's intentional rejection of a proposed ban on party members from associating with Nazis and Holocaust deniers. This literally gives a green light to continue relationships with them. And it should not be this difficult to disavow associations with people like Nick Fuentes, who has called for a holy war against Jews, has praised Adolf Hitler, denies the Holocaust happened, and is called for a homeland for white people. Yet a representative of some of the largest donors in the party met with him when Defend Texas Liberty PAC hosted him at their offices. So again, I ask, who are you trying to protect? Now, more than ever before in recent history, it is imperative to be vocal in condemning anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial. And we must all do our part within our communities and within our own parties. There should be absolutely no wiggle room here to associate with white supremacists and Nazi sympathizers. Jewish Texans and Texans of all walks of life have the right to feel safe in their communities. And I want to emphasize what I just said, that Texans of all walks of life, of every faith, race, ethnicity, in this time of pain and sorrow, and on the eve of Hanukkah, which begins tonight, which is a celebration of light in a time of darkness, I loudly say that anti-Semitism is not welcomed here. And additionally, as a Jewish person, I say that Islamophobia and anti-Arab hate are not welcomed here. Hate, period, has no place in Texas and no place in our politics. I want to thank Chairman Hinojosa and all of our elected officials who are standing up. It is needed more than I could have ever imagined. And with that, Mr. Chair, the proverbial floor is yours. Mr. Chair, I think you might be muted.
Thank you. The Texas Democratic Party Executive Committee has consistently passed measures to condemn all forms of terrorism and anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. This is something that we have done not just because we are a very diverse state, as the Councilwoman mentioned, but also because it is the right thing to do. What these hate mongers stand for is not what Texas is all about. Texas is a state that believes in the diversity, that the positive aspect of what diversity brings to our state. We welcome it. We praise that every single day as a party, because that is what has made Texas a great state. Today, the Texas Democratic Party is proud to announce that an executive committee member of the Texas Democratic Party has filed a resolution that reaffirms our commitment to disavowing any association whatsoever with hate groups, anti-Semitic and Islamophobic individuals and organizations. And I promise you that resolution, which is identical to the resolution that was rejected by the Texas Republican Party, that resolution will be passed unanimously by the Texas Democratic Party. we believe that it's important that we step up and we disavow racist Nazis in this state, and that we make sure that they have no role whatsoever, not any say whatsoever, in the policies that are enacted in this state to protect the citizens of this great state. I want to make sure that everybody understands that we will continue to stand up against such hate in the state. And I want to make sure that everyone understands that we believe that the diversity of this state is what makes us beautiful. So thank you so much, and happy Hanukkah. Hanukkah.
Thank you so much, y'all. I want to allot some time for roughly 2 questions. Please raise your hand if you have them, and we'll call on you. All right. Well, if no one has any questions, this concludes our call today. I will be sending the resolution via press release after this call, or our introduced resolution after this call. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and thank you so much for all of your speakers for your time. Thank you so much.